A new season has been announced, so it's time for us to overanalyze the trailer that was released by Blizzard and extract every piece of information we can find. I'll start with the gameplay features and then move on to what really interests me, the lore. Let's get started. Once you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, you'll find that the trailer reveals a lot of what is coming next to Diablo 4. The video shows us that a new corruption is plaguing the lands of Sanctuary, one of a more bloody nature. Vampires have proliferated and prey on the weak once more. In the video, we see a druid, a barbarian, and a sorcerer fighting these vampires but ultimately getting killed and turned into vampires themselves by the vampiric curse. The narrator then calls upon us to track, hunt, and kill these vampires to stop the corruption. But it doesn't stop there. During the gameplay section of the trailer, we see a rogue using evade and transforming into a swarm of bats mid-air. This implies that we will be absorbing some of these vampiric powers into ourselves. In the same way, we use the Caged Heart at the moment in Season of the Malignant. These vampiric powers are very exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far we can push them. I really want to play a fully fledged vampire hunter with the vampire powers. Think Alucard in Castlevania, for example. That would be awesome. Based on what we've been playing these past few weeks, I'm going to guess that the Season of Blood will work very similarly to Season of the Malignant. Some creatures in Sanctuary will appear as cursed and have a chance to drop some form of currency that we can then exchange against vampiric powers. You can actually get a glimpse of these creatures in the trailer. This system would work in the same way we get Caged Hearts from Malignant monsters today, and the same way we can craft our own with the new NPC Cormond. Not a good guy, by the way. Go watch my video about his story if you want to know more. So now that we've covered that, let's talk about what changes the devs have confirmed will feature in the patch notes. Let's start with what the devs call target farming. Right now, if you want a specific legendary piece of gear, there isn't a clear path to acquiring it. You just have to farm nightmare dungeons or any other way to drop legendaries and hope you get the one you want. This isn't very rewarding for the players. So the devs want to change that by implementing what they call target farming, which is just a fancy word to say a more clear path to get pieces of gear you want. This way, if you are playing towards a specific build for your character, you'll be able to pinpoint what to do in order to get the legendaries you need. I'm guessing they will be implemented through the 5 new Endgame Bosses, meaning that each boss will drop a specific piece of legendary gear. It's a cool improvement that I'll be happy to see. Currently, the only endgame boss per se is Uber Lilith. She is currently the most powerful boss to fight at level 100. The devs have confirmed that they will be adding 5 additional endgame bosses to reinforce the ranks of Lilith. That being said, they called them new and returning bosses, meaning it's probably going to be other bosses from the campaign such as Andariel and Duriel, and the new one will be that vampire lord they showed off in the trailer. We now move on to Renown Changes. Currently, Altars of Lilith and map discovery are shared amongst your characters. With the Season of Blood announcement, the devs have confirmed that they will widen the amount of cross-character rewards, which includes potion charges, skill points, oboe cap upgrades, and paragon points. These are great changes and will hopefully motivate players to create more characters, knowing that a lot of what they've already unlocked will transfer. Now let's talk about the systems that are getting reworked. First, it seems that the good folk on the Diablo team aren't happy with how the resistance systems work currently, so they'll be updated, hopefully for the better. We don't have that much information on it for now. On top of that, there will be an update to vulnerable, overpower, and critical strike damage systems. Again, not too much information on that, but I'm glad to see that they're going to do something about it. In terms of quality of life improvements, we will be finally getting updates to our inventory and stash spaces. Thank God. Our first improvement is that gems will no longer take up spaces in the inventory, which is much appreciated. And the second improvement comes in the form of a search bar and filters in our stash. If you ask me, they should have been there from the start, but I'm not going to complain. It's a nice improvement. And that's all we know for now in regards to the gameplay changes. Let me know in the comments what other changes you are hoping to see. While you do that, I want to talk about the lore. Now wait. I know you might not be super interested in the lore of Diablo, but Here, give me a chance. I promise there are some interesting things here to dive into. So the trailer reveals a few things about the lore in this new season. First of all, in the same way Cormond was our Season of the Malignant NPC, we will be seeing someone new, someone called Eris, voiced by Gemma Chan. This would be the rogue we saw in the trailer. We currently know nothing about her other than the fact that she's already a vampire hunter. So she will probably be the one who teaches us how to absorb the vampiric powers and make ourselves more powerful in the process. After all, the Diablo Twitter themselves have called Eris your guide through the Season of Blood, which is a bit of a problem for me, but I'll tell you why in a second. We also learned that the church, meaning the Cathedral of Light, completely ignored the killings that happened in the trailer, right? The vampiric corruption ravaging through the villages, which either implies that they truly don't care, or that maybe some people of power in the church are vampires themselves and pull the strings of the church away from the corruption. Now, I highly doubt that's the fact, but I'm just thinking, it would be cool. Vampires are nothing new in the Diablo universe. In fact, there's a lot of lore about them that exist. Something for another video perhaps. That being said, there is a new piece of lore that appeared in Diablo 4 that I really hope connects to this season. I'm of course talking about the Blood Knights and their progenitor, Renown. The reason I'm bringing up Renown is because this new season will feature a new questline. And if we base ourselves on the questline from Season of the Malignant, it's probably going to see us try and discover the source of the vampiric corruption and then do something about it. And this is where I believe Blizzard could deliver a slam dunk in terms of lore. Let me explain. In the physical Book of Lorath, which I've purchased, there are a couple of relics called the Crown and Fang of Renown. These are the relics of the first Blood Knight of Sanctuary. As the story goes, a lord in the city of Gaeakul was consumed by the desire for eternal life. So he spent all his money pursuing immortality through vampiric studies. He conducted dark experiments under his castle. However, his efforts bore no fruits and led to a catastrophic outcome. One of his captive vampires managed to break free, resulting in a bloody massacre that left all but one guard dead, the only survivor being Renown. Now, Renown found himself afflicted with the vampire's curse, but luckily, a mage intervened to preserve what remained of Renown's humanity, altering him into a new entity, the first one of the Blood Knights. This was the moment that marked the beginning of a secretive brotherhood of these unique beings who navigated the world balancing their human wisdom and vampiric desires. This is of course the new class that was announced for Diablo Immortal, right? The Blood Knights. So this is where the theory crafting comes into play. Considering we know that the next season will be vampire themed, I'm going to hope that through the questline we have to make our way to the city of Gaeakul and potentially retrace the steps of Renown, or at least find the location where Renown was turned, or maybe find the traces of a Blood Knight who turned on his order and decided to spread the vampiric corruption across Sanctuary. After all, think about it. The Blood Knights are human beings who were corrupted and then were saved, and they retained the vampiric corruption, so they had extra powers, right? They became powerful human beings with vampire traits. That sounds very familiar to Season of Blood, right? Anyway, this would be a fun way to connect the Blood Knights to Diablo 4, and not just a shoo-in for Diablo Immortal. Maybe we meet a Blood Knight and he teaches us how to absorb vampiric powers so we can then properly fight back against a vampire infestation. That would be a great way to tie the narrative together, right? This is why I think as much as this new NPC, Eris, is great, I think it would make more sense if it was a Blood Knight teaching us about all these vampiric powers, don't you think? Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe if you did, and come join us on our Discord where we try and discover the secrets of Sanctuary. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.